If the heat shuts off in a hospital, people's lives are at risk. If a school has bad ventilation, kids get sick. And if a data center overheats, companies will lose millions of dollars per hour. But the worst part is, most people think the fix is HVAC. But honestly, there's another trade behind the scenes that controls HVAC, energy, and airflow in every modern building. And that is called building automation, or BAS for short. Today, I'm breaking down building automation systems in plain English, what a BAS technician actually does, why this trade is becoming essential, and how to get started without an engineering degree. Also, we're going to look at what the pay really looks like in both Canada and the United States. So what is BAS? Think of the building like the human body. Sensors are the nerves. They feel everything from temperature, air quality, and humidity. Controllers are the brain. They make all the decisions. Equipment like fans, pumps, heating, and cooling are the muscles. They are doing all the work. A BAS technician makes sure that the nerves, brain, and muscles all work together. That's why instead of fixing one machine, you're responsible for how the entire building operates. Now, you may be asking yourself, why is BAS needed? Well, buildings are getting smarter every year. More sensors, more automation, and more computer control. And almost every big building depends on it. Everywhere from hospitals, schools, condos, to factories, warehouses, and data centers. When BAS is actually working properly, everybody's comfortable and nobody notices. But when it's not working, everyone notices. A modern building without BAS is like a human body without a nervous system. The muscles might still work, but nothing's being coordinated. Heating runs when it shouldn't, cooling will fight itself, energy gets wasted, and all the problems go unnoticed until something breaks. BAS is what allows a building to sense, think, and respond in real time. And as buildings get bigger, smarter, and more energy focused, BAS isn't optional anymore. It is essential. So what does a BSA tech actually do? Well, BAS work is usually a mix of hands-on and laptop work. A tech might do something like wire sensors and controllers. They'll build or work inside the control panels, test and calibrate sensors, set all the schedules and alarms, and troubleshoot when something doesn't work. And let's be honest, troubleshooting is where the skill is. Sometimes it's not the HVAC is broken. Sometimes it's a sensor giving the wrong reading. So the system is making the wrong decision. So here's a simple example. If a sensor says it's cold when it's actually not, the system might keep heating. And instead of bringing on the cooling, the building is going to get extremely hot and people are going to complain. And those are the types of problems that BAS techs will find. You might hear different names throughout the trade, such as BAS, Building Automation System, BMS, Building Management System, DDC, Direct Digital Controls, and realistically, they're all part of the same world. They're all part of building controls. But you might also hear BACnet or Modbus. These devices are just how everything talks to each other. So let's have a look at how you can actually get started. There are two main paths that people take to get into BAS. The first path is from HVAC or electrical. If you're already in HVAC or electrical, you're in a great spot. The next steps would be to learn basic controls and wiring diagrams. Apply for entry roles like controls installer, BAS apprentice, HVAC controls tech at a junior level, and a DDC tech at an entry level. You'll want to learn the basics of networking, just the basics. And then you will want to grow into service and troubleshooting. Now, path number 2 is IT and tech. If you come from IT, you already understand networks and software. Your job now will be learning what the building equipment does. Everything from air handlers, pumps, to chillers, to boilers. Either way, you can still start an entry-level position and build up from there. These are the skills that matter the most when trying to get into BAS. If you want to get good at BAS and you want to do it fast, stop thinking about the tools and start thinking about how the body works. You need to read diagrams the same way that a doctor reads anatomy. Use a meter, like checking vital signs. Understand how the sensors send signals, just the same way that the nerves do. Learn basic networking because the brain can't function if the nerves are not connected. Most importantly, you need to understand how the system should operate normally when it's healthy. If you know that, then diagnosing problems becomes easier and faster. And that's what separates good BAS techs from great BSA techs. Now let's take a look at the pay. The pay is going to depend on your experience and your role. But like a lot of jobs, they all have a general category. So in the US, the starting range is between 60 and 110,000 a year. In Canada, it's about 50 to 110,000 a year. Install work is solid, but service, troubleshooting, and commissioning are where the pay usually grows. Why is this trade very hard to replace? Well, it's simple. AI and software can't walk into a mechanical room. A building is like the human body that's lived a very, very hard life. The drawings don't match reality. The nerves are damaged and the sensors are lying. Valves are getting stuck, and the wiring was changed 20 years ago, and it was never updated. BAS techs deal with the real body, not the textbook version. And that's why as a building gets smarter, humans who understand them stay essential. So if you want a trade that mixes hands-on work with real problem solving, building automation is one of the most overlooked paths out there. You're not just fixing parts, you're understanding how the whole system is supposed to function. You work with the real building, not the textbook version. Old wiring, bad sensors, systems that don't behave the way the drawings say they should. And that's why BAS techs stay relevant. They connect the nerves to the brains and the muscles of modern buildings. Comment BAS if this trade surprised you. Then tell me, are you coming from HVAC, electrical, or IT? Or are you even starting from zero? Would you rather be hands-on in the field or troubleshooting with a laptop? Because in the world of smart buildings, the people who understand systems, not just tools, are the ones that stay in demand.